Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vincent Happy Munisi, and I'm about to introduce to you my fifth book, which was my African Black book. This book was published in, firstly published in 2018, and I've had what you call one of the worst what called delays to even publish it because of the cover that was on it, and also the content, because the content is so like really it's explosive, totally explosive, and I'm not surprised they didn't want to publish it. But I finally went around getting it published because the last cover had an illustration of a black man, what you call mining in the middle of Africa, and a white man living in Europe smoking a cigar, and all the money coming to Europe and enjoying all the money that the what you call the black miner was doing, which is true, which is in effect, because most of our minerals are owned by European or Chinese investments and all that kind of things, and we got to try and rearrange and change all that thing. For me, it's a it's a non-starter when we are relying on investors to take our minerals and pay us tax. I don't get that. The whole point is that we should manage our own minerals, and we don't need investors to come in. We should sell our minerals to the people that want to buy them, not for them to come and mine the stuff and then take it and whatever and do whatever and then they pay us tax. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, this book here, as I say, it was what you call not allowed to be published from 2018. It was I first finished it in 2018. I wrote it in Manchester after I finished my master's. I was meant to have done my dissertation, but I ended up writing this book instead because my master's ended up. It's a long story, but anyway, the whole truth is I got this done, which was much more better and more impactful, and I think this book here has got so much stuff I'm not even surprised why they didn't want to publish it. But let's just try and get into a little bit of it and see why as well. We'll just do a 5-minute to 6-minute video. Okay, it starts with an introduction, the contents, it's the religious systems, Jesuits and secret societies, and the causes of wars in Africa, and then Pan-Africanism. These are the chapters. Introduction, religious systems, Jesuits and secret societies, page 17, causes of wars in Africa, page 45, and Pan-Africanism on page 118. So it starts with an introduction. And let me just read the introduction. This book is written to enlighten the black races of the world. Its main aim is to awaken the African spirit of African spiritualism and to encourage African socialism to replace capitalism worldwide. For this book to have any relevance today and the current state of Africa, I must do a historical study of the European race to understand their nature of subjugation and the self-entitlement to rule over and control the wealth of the world. All research of this book has been internet-based. My research and all the information in this book is available for those who are interested to know who controls the world we live in. I've also done a historical study of the foundations of Christianity and a historical study of the European dark years of witchcraft and paganism. You know, you got to do what you call a research study of everything before you even think of what you call writing anything and making it concrete. Well, this thing here, as I say, it's a deep book, and let's go into the religious systems. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church is the largest African Orthodox Christian church and is one of the few pre-colonial churches in sub-Saharan Africa. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has a membership of over 45 to 50 million followers, in the majority who live in Ethiopia. That's the religious sections. I'm as I say, this book here is so powerful. I'm wondering why they wanted they actually didn't want to it's the whole thing, especially when it comes to the causes of wars in Africa. It really tells you who's behind the wars in Africa, because if you go back to the causes of the wars in Africa, it's just like, whoa, man. I'll just go into the causes of the wars. This is a very simple reason why some of the Africans' bloodiest and most brutal wars never seem to end. They're not really wars, not in a traditional sense. At least these combatants don't have much of an ideology. They don't even have a clear goal. They care less about taking over capitals or major cities. In fact, they prefer to the deep bush, where it's far easier to commit crimes. Today's rebels simply, especially uninterested in winning converts, content instead of to steal other people's children, stick calicoes or axes in their hands and make them do the killing. Look closely at some of the continent's most irretractable conflicts, from the rebel-led creek of the Niger Delta to the inferno in the Democratic of Congo. This is what you'll find. What we're seeing is a decline of African classic liberation movements and the proliferation of something else, something wilder, messier, more violent, and harder to wrap your head around it. What's spreading across Africa is like a viral pandemic. It's actually just opportunistic, heavily armed banditry. It is totally. Yeah. The LRA is one of the craziest movements and they virtually are still in charge of a lot of areas in the Congo, and they just get on. They're the most craziest. But Clooney has set up a group called the Sentry, and they are trying to break down where these funds are coming from, because who is funding most of these rebel movements? Who's actually giving them arms? Who's giving them? But also the things about it, there is a prospect where in the Congo there's so much minerals. Those minerals can be turned into guns or money, as simple as long as the minerals are in their hands. So basically, we need to really get our acts together as Africans and really start thinking hard on how to stop the illicit trade of arms and illicit trade of our what we call our minerals. We should stop it totally. We have to gather. We have to become one united unit. Otherwise, if we all still maintain our 54 different what do you call